So I know that it costs less to make a Model Y than a Model 3. But they've decided to price it at a different range. So they've kind of said, okay, well, we brought out the Model 3. This is a little bit bigger. Even though it costs less, we should charge more because it's got more stuff in it and you can do more with it. When a paradigm shifts, everyone goes back to zero. And I believe that that's where we are right now.
Hey, I'm Stephen and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So in this video, we're hearing from one of my favorite nerds of all time, Sandy Munro, discussing Tesla, competition, disruption, innovation, and paradigm shifts. So let's get into the video. But first, hey guys, if you live in the US and you'd like to help out the channel and get up to 4 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 2 free stocks between $2.50 and $250 each just for opening an account. And if you deposit $100, you'll get a further 2 free stocks valued between $8 and $1,600 each. That is an obnoxiously good return on your investment. I mean, really, deposit $100 and you'll end up with, at minimum, $21 worth of stocks, a 21% ROI on your money. And if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake also using the link in the description. Let's get back to it. And of course, there's a link in the description to the full interview. I highly recommend you guys check it out.
There's a guy, his name is Joe Barker. And he talks about something called paradigms. They're the boxes that you live in. And Joel Barker says when a paradigm shifts, everyone goes back to zero. And I believe that that's where we are right now. The paradigm is shifting. And he has lots and lots of examples of people who saw that the paradigm could move, but decided to stay where they were and then basically vanished.
Ooh, gee, I wonder, what point could Sandy possibly be getting at here?
One of the best is the Quartz movement watch. That was invented by the Swiss. They chose not to get involved. And they basically walked away from the Quartz watch because they had so much invested in the gears and the fine detail that they could crank out inside their shop. And so consequently, they lost almost the whole market to basically Texas Instrument and Seiko. Seiko Watch Company, I mean, blew everybody away. Everybody had one of these little watches. They were dead accurate. You could get them stylish or you could get them whatever you want. But now everybody has a watch with a battery in it. And yet the Swiss at the time thought that that was just ridiculous. Who's going to want to buy a battery when you all you have to do is, that kind of thing. I think we are in that same situation. And I think that these guys, I think a lot of them are going to hold on.
Sandy has absolutely nailed it here. Let's just look at one example from one company. So let's just look at Honda. This article from November 2019. Electric vehicles won't be mainstream, says Honda CEO. Commenting about Honda's electrification strategy, Honda CEO said the brand will focus on petrol-electric hybrids, not battery electric vehicles, through 2030. Clearly, this is a gigantic red flag. I quote, "The hurdles to battery electric vehicles and complete autonomous driving are still quite high." Yes, they are. But guess what? You need to get over those hurdles or you won't be in business in the future. Just saying. Commenting about Honda's electrification strategy, he said the brand will focus on petrol-electric hybrids, not battery-electric vehicles through 2030. Also, he said Honda will prioritize incremental advances that offer real-world safety at affordable prices instead of fancy functions and pricey LiDAR systems, claims the report. So, one more time. Honda will prioritize incremental advances. In other words, this Titanic is already sinking. I do not believe there will be a dramatic increase in demand for battery vehicles, and I believe this situation is true globally. There are issues with infrastructure and hardware. Oh boy. You can tell you're hearing from a dinosaur when this is the reasoning and the rationale behind these comments. I continue. There are different regulations in different countries and we have to abide by them, so it's a must to continue R&D, but I don't believe it will become mainstream anytime soon. So Honda's an international company, that was the Honda CEO. Maybe the Honda Canada CEO has a little bit more perspective. Let's read. Nobody wants to talk about how much EVs cost and what people are prepared to pay. They're just forging forward thinking we have all the solutions, and we don't. There's a political agenda. It's easy for people to understand zero-emission vehicles as a political statement. With EVs, you're basically getting a trickle right now. If you're looking at saving the planet and having heavy reductions of greenhouse gases, the math doesn't work. The heavy investments you need to invest to produce EVs, and you're questioning whether you're able to sell those at a profit, that's why we're really concerned about governments putting out more zero emissions mandates that will not really achieve a great deal of greenhouse gas reduction in the short term. These statements are absolutely moronic and will haunt this person for the rest of their life. With EVs, you're basically getting a trickle right now. If you're looking at saving the planet and having heavy reductions of greenhouse gases, the math doesn't work. Who says this? Okay, so let's think about this. With EVs, you're basically getting a trickle right now. Key words, right now. Right now. What's the idea? Build more EVs. If you have more EVs, more trickles running together becomes a stream, then a river, then a torrent. That causes a meaningful impact. That's the idea. And it also just illustrates the incredible short-term thinking of this company. With EVs, you're basically getting a trickle right now. Hello, the heavy investments you need to invest to produce EVs, and you're questioning whether you'll be able to sell those at a profit. Translation, we're scared, our shareholders won't like it, we need to invest money, and so we're not going to do it. And it goes on even more. That's why we're concerned about governments putting out more zero-emission mandates that will not really achieve a great deal of greenhouse gas reduction in the short term. Once again, in the short term. Do you hear the emotive language there? That's why we're really concerned about governments putting out... If you're really concerned, do something about it, fuckface. Come on, man. Now, just to be clear, guys, I'm not attacking the person, but the thinking, Jesus fucking Christ. This is real life. This is exactly what Sandy is talking about. It's like, what? Oh, man.
There's another thing it's called scotoma. It's where there's something right in front of you, but you can't see it. It's a psychological problem. And again, Joel Barker says, when the expectations don't match the results, people physiologically cannot see the data. And I think that there's a lot of OEM guys that are into that situation. It's right in front of them, but they can't see it. So if you think about it, maybe you've gone into the basement looking for a hammer or something like that. You look around, you can't find it. And so you yell at your wife and say, "Hey, do move the hammer." And she comes down and she picks it up because it was right in front of you and you didn't see it. And that's because the brain has got power over the eyes. And if the brain says, "I can't see you," no, it's not here. It's not here. Someone moved it. Someone moved it. You physiologically can't see the data. The same thing I think is true with happening is in fact happening with a lot of the OEMs. The guys that basically ran into the barrier, and I mean that sincerely when I'm talking about VW. They ran into that barrier with the diesel problem. They had no other choice than to move into some other direction. And I call that the luxury of adversity. When you're right up against the brick wall, your brain works a lot faster. I mean, it's one thing to sit in a hammock or, like you say, put your toe in the water. It's quite another if you're, in an airplane and it's headed for the ground and you're allegedly going to be the only guy that's going to be able to pull this thing out of the steep dive. You learn how to fly a plane in about 2 seconds, right? If I pull it back, maybe, that's what's going to happen. You're going to have somebody like that trying to pull the airplane or steer the ship in a new direction because you're headed for a big rock or you're headed straight for planet Earth.
Brilliant analogies there from Sandy. This is literally what we are hearing. Those Honda comments are just so reflective of this. It's right before their very eyes and they don't see it. They don't notice. They have no idea what's coming. They're completely blind to what's obvious to others.
And do you think a big part of that interest and kind of the tipping point for EVs is around cost? Is it this range, or do you think that this will kind of play into that ability of being able to deliver EVs and kind of gain that exposure at a much more effective cost point?
The cost is definitely the barrier for most people. For me, I mean, I've seen pretty much everybody's EV. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's Audi or Tesla or Bolt or whoever. Okay, but I've only recommended one. I've only recommended one so far. I didn't like any of the other ones, but one seems to be, and that's the Model Y, because it drives like it's on rails, and this drives like a train. You point it, and that's where it goes, and it's fast, wicked fast, and it's I don't know, everything about it is fabulous.
These comments carry so much weight coming from Sandy Munro, automotive industry expert. He's been around the block. He understands the technology inside and out, and everything about the vehicle is fantastic. Not good, not decent, not great, fantastic.
So I know that it costs less to make a Model Y than a Model 3, but they've decided to price it at a different range. So they've kind of said, okay, well, we brought out the Model 3. This is a little bit bigger. Even though it costs less, we should charge more because it's got more stuff in it and you can do more with it.
So there's two things I want to touch on here. The first being that the Model Y, a superior vehicle, is more economical to produce than the Model 3. Now, this isn't because Tesla's just using cheaper parts, etc. It's because they've refined their manufacturing process. They're now integrating some of those same cost savings and new efficiencies back into the Model 3, including the heat pump, which is now going into Model 3 vehicles, saving an enormous amount of complexity and also improving the efficiency of the vehicle, improving range, etc. So what's happened between the generations of the Model 3 to the Model Y? Tesla's made marked improvements and leaps and bounds forward in terms of their manufacturing processes, their engineering tech, everything. They're now starting to reintegrate some of those savings back into the Model 3. Just imagine what the next iteration and the next iteration, Cybertruck, then a compact vehicle designed solely for robotaxis, will look like in terms of cost to produce. And the second point is that because the Model Y is being sold for more than the Model 3 and the Model Y costs less to produce than the Model 3, it is a money printer, and we're really going to start to see this reflected in Tesla's financials in the following quarters. And don't forget, the more of that tech they reintroduce back into the Model 3, the more its margins will improve as well. Meaning more profitable vehicles and or even lower prices, meaning even more demand, feedback loop. Tesla's just doing a whole lot of winning. What else can I say? Even the stock's on its way to Mars. And by the way, thanks to everybody who picked up a new shirt, Tesla stock to Mars, over 50 sold in the first 3 days. And hey, it seems like I'm a bit of a prophet. Once again, I release a bit of merch with Tesla stock going vertical, and then the stock actually goes vertical. It's up 24% since I made that merch design. What the actual fuck? I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget, if you live in the US and you'd like to help out the channel and get up to 4 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 2 free stocks between $2.50 and $250 each just for opening an account. And if you deposit $100, you'll get a further 2 free stocks valued between $8 and $1,600 each. And if you're in Australia, the UK or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake also using the link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.